One of the most common questions among chess players is what opening should I learn? What opening should I play? And rightfully so. You want to have a control over what happens in your game from the beginning, but on the other hand there is so much choice, there are so much openings that you don't know what you should choose. And this video is for you. This video is either for beginner guys who just start building their opening repertoire, or for intermediate players who already have opening repertoire but are looking for ways for some improvements because something doesn't work or some opening don't give you results you want. In this video I will share 3 openings against one e4 which I recommend you should play, not only to have short-term success but also long-term success. Because you see, there are some videos that give you an ideas about openings, but these openings are flashy lines, are traps, and they work only if your opponent is surprised, if he doesn't know how to play. But if you meet someone who knows how to react, you often get worse positions. So this video is not about such openings. This video is about solid openings which will give you results in long term as well. 3 criteria for openings that we are going to see are: first, the strength of the opening, also how many grandmasters play this opening, because this is a very good indicator of the strength of an opening, and you should always look if there are strong grandmasters who play such line or there are not. Second thing is your level of understanding chess. I will tell you if particular opening, if particular line is good for you if you are beginner, or if you are intermediate, or it's good for you if you are both. And also how much time do you have for studying particular opening, because not all openings you can learn overnight, and sometimes you don't have so much time. And also fourth thing would be a playing style. Maybe you know that you prefer to play more aggressively or more passively or calmly. It's not always like that you should know your playing style, but sometimes you just know that that is the case. So let's begin. First opening against e4 every player should learn, in my opinion, or should take a look at, is a French defense. It's e6 in one move. This opening is not so hard to learn. You don't need so much time, because in different variations, usually plans how you should play overlap. So there are a few plans, 1 or 2 plans, main plans, that are present in almost all variations. Also, this variation is played by very strong grandmasters, including Caruana, Nepomniachtchi, Carlsen, Viktor Korchnoi played it as well, and some other top grandmasters. This opening is mainly for players who are considered to be more positional, but if you are an aggressive player and who likes more active play, you will also find some good lines for you here. Usually what white plays here is d4, black plays d5. The plan for black here is to attack white's center. And usually we will get a structure when white eventually play e5. Either here, from the beginning they play e5 right away, or first they play knight c3 or knight d2, and then after move such as knight f6 they play e5. And usually you will see such a structure when white have this long pawn chain and black is attacking these pawns. You play knight c6, you attack d4 pawn, and sometimes you also play f6, which is a very characteristic move for French defense, but not Not right now. For example, here it would be a big mistake because you weaken your king and there is queen h5. So here you play knight c6, knight e2 is the main line, queen b6, knight f3, takes, takes, and f6. There are quite similar ideas after e5. Right now you play c5, c3, knight c6, knight f3, queen d6, b6, sorry. And now there are some options for white. We want to get deeper. The plan is just to attack d4 pawn and sometimes to play f6 in French defense. One distinction right here after knight c3. Here knight f6 is better for more aggressive players, for more attacking players, I would say. And bishop b4, a another variation, is better for positional players. For example, such line as e5, knight e7, a3, bishop c3, bc3 and b6, intending to exchange this bishop for bishop on f1, because this bishop in white's camp is more active than this bishop, which is limited by limited by its own pawns. The same with this bishop. It's usually limited by these pawns, so we want to exchange it. Alright, so it was French defense. Very good opening. Second opening I want to recommend you is a Sicilian defense. Sicilian defense is a very wide, broad opening. There are a lot of variations. Usually you have to spend a little bit more time to learn it, but if you play it with black and you know which variation you want to learn, it's not so much work. And I want to propose you two variations. First is so-called dragon defense. I would say it's even good for beginner players because plans here are quite logical. You learn an active and dynamic play. Also, it's very good for intermediate players. You have to spend some time to learn this opening. And what is the logic behind g6 move is to make a fianchetto for bishop and have this bishop on long diagonal, and then play on queen side with a6 and b5 move and on c line. The other Sicilian variation is knight c6, d4, cd4, knight d4, knight f6, knight c3 and e6. This variation is also good both for beginners and for intermediate players. Here also you have to study some lines, you have to remember some lines, but it's not so much as, for example, in Najdorf variation, the most used Sicilian defense variation, a6. Right here, it's a lot more complicated than four knights variation. Right here, e6. So that's second Sicilian variation I recommend. Here's also the thing: when you build your opening repertoire, first you focus on one opening, but then when you learn one line, you can learn also second and third opening, so your chances of, like, not maybe chances, but you have more weapons against your opponents. That's it. And last move will be very mainstream move, which is e5. e5 was played by all kinds of players, all very not all, but very strong grandmasters, starting from Steinitz, first world champion, Capablanca, I think he was third world champion, Alechin, Spassky, Petrosian, not sure here, but probably, Euwe, Fischer, Tal, Kramnik, Carlsen, and Caruana right now, Aronian, and so on. It's also a very broad topic to discuss, so we won't get into much detail. The three openings you should be familiar with, in my opinion, are after knight f3, knight c6, which is a main line here, is one Spanish game, Ruy Lopez, Italian game, Cuco Piano, and also Scotch defense. These are the first opening you should be familiar with. For Ruy Lopez, I recommend playing just a6, bishop a4, knight f6. This is the main line here, castle, and open variation, or no, sorry, I have to check it right now. And knight e4, open variation. That's the line I recommend. I myself play Spanish game with white, and it's very hard for me to play against knight e4. Against Italian game, I recommend bishop c5, because after knight f6 you get knight g5, and you have to be well prepared for this, and it's easy to get lost. Also, there are some variations in regards to d4, so I prefer to play bishop c5 right now. And on Scotch game, you take here knight d4 and knight f6. You develop your pieces. Knight f6 is a simple move. Here are two main variations. White takes on c6 and plays e5, or white plays knight c3 and you play bishop b4. You fight for the center. So it would be it. Three main openings I recommend against one e4. If you've got any questions, put them down below. And one thing I almost forgot to share with you is a website where you can investigate all openings yourself. It's a very good website called Chessbase Database. And here you can see on the right you have moves to choose, and database shows you which moves were played most often, and the moves that were played most often says you that this is the main variation, and the main variation against French defense is knight c3. You can also see a percentage of games won by white, average rating of player who played this move, and on the left you have games played in this line. You can click seek a chessboard and you have games right here. You can play and you can click any game, and then you should be able to see it. Right now I have some problems with internet, but when you click on this game it appears right here and you can watch a whole game. You can also click right here in the ELO and you will see games by the strongest players. Here it was Carlsen, then Caruana, and so on, by the rating. It's a very useful tool. Check it out for yourself, click a little bit around it, and that's it. Subscribe to my channel to be notified about next no crap and sweet chess advice, and see you next time.